So as of this morning, wow, yeah, it's not a clock. Let's go. My,
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. How is everybody doing? Those of you in the snow belt like myself, all the way from the Midwest where Steve grew up, all the way up to Boston where I grew up. I hope everybody's being safe. Big Beat, how you doing? I know you're down in Tampa. You could care less about this cold weather.
yeah, I know. I mean, I feel like I got to wear a sweater today. I mean, it's going to be in the 50s. But
you
look,
know,
I get it. We talked about this, right, Hondo, that natural gas was going to be a big issue. There was a lot of world problems going with natural gas, especially with Ukraine and Russia to Europe, and LNG, liquefied natural gas. The cold weather brings on more heat needs, and we're seeing that now. It's
absolutely.
very jerky, but I'll tell you right now, I think that this might be the end of it. In the cold weather, we see this massive move throughout the belt. I tell you, the biggest problem is not natural gas. I think the biggest problem is we've got, especially here in Florida, we've had two freezes. Is citrus, as well as cows and pigs. Those things are really hurting right now. Farmers are hurting because it is a deep freeze. And you see cattle prices at all-time highs right now. I was just reading a few minutes ago that another biggest orange producer in the United States and Florida is just now gone bankrupt. So the prices are going up exponentially, and not just because of inflation, but also because of external issues, in this case, weather. So it's why we have to, as traders, make sure that we understand the weather patterns.
Yeah, we I talked a little bit about this when you were gone because the biggest growth in commodities last year were actually orange juice, cocoa, and coffee, like you just said. And it's not just here in the U.S. Brazil is having a huge climate
Right.
change issue. Peru, a lot of places where we get those three crops. I've heard a lot on coffee lately. Starbucks, talked a lot about it. They buy huge reserves. It was funny. I didn't realize they did that to that effect. They literally have their version of our gas petroleum reserve of
Yeah.
coffee beans.
And they have their
Um,
own futures market. They actually also they have traders that also buy those Arabica beans, like a smart company, and they, like airlines buying jet fuel, futures
yeah,
on it to hedge, so that then they're not completely screwed on margin. But yeah, I mean, you're not seeing that, and the price is going up. So this is why I think a top is now in too, right? That a company like Starbucks that has to buy coffee isn't going out there going, I can't wait to buy coffee on the highest. I'd rather
right.
buy it on the lows, right? So yeah, I don't see coffee pushing higher. I'm looking at cocoa prices right now, 12,000. Yeah, so not a big push, another 0.5%. I think we're going to see a pullback on some of these commodities now as the weather starts to abate, and I think that's, to me, is what I've been saying. We're at it, and here we are, and I think this is the end of it. To be honest with
Well, we'll definitely hope on that. Without a doubt, for sure. The other things that are affecting our food chain right now, of course, bird flu has been terrible here in the Midwest. Millions of
you. Yep.
birds have had to be put down. The good thing, and what I will stress there is coffee and some of these aren't a quick fix.
No.
Whether this year doesn't affect coffee, it's the years of production and dwindling on new plantings and things like
Right.
that.
I will tell
Whereas
you this much, Howard. I was reading this morning. Do you know what commodity is being drank the least of right now in history, United
probably
States history?
water, since you're saying, or milk.
Milk. That's
Yeah,
correct.
milk. Yeah, milk.
Um, That's right. We're drinking less milk than we ever have in this country. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and you're seeing that change, and then what you will are finally starting to see is ranchers realize this change is a generational change. It's the oat milk, it's the soy milk, it's just the less milk.
Right.
In the days where I grew up, I mean, and you grew up, we got every day you went to school. What'd you get? A carton of milk with your lunch, no matter what lunch was, right?
Chocolate milk, or they asked if you wanted chocolate or you wanted white milk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that yeah, that is changing, and they're doing less dairy farming, and those people are putting their cows
Yeah.
into into pasture cows, which again more expensive. They move around a lot. You got to get that meat marbleized. So yeah, big changes in our food. The other thing I think that's important to bring up that I was going to talk to you about this morning is the wide range of projections we're seeing for 2025. And with you not here at the end of 2024, we didn't really talk about what you're looking at over the next 3 6 months here. I mean, we're seeing from 20 talks of next year 20% down in the stock market due to high inflation and a compression in earnings, to up 10% based upon inflation abating quicker and earnings multiples still coming in. Number one, where do you fit in there? And I don't remember it
Yes.
being this big of a
The answer is
spread.
yes. The answer is yes. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I was at Bloomberg headquarters not too long ago, listening to a lot of the CMT Association members talking about the charts. We are in a bull market, okay? And normal bull markets last 3 years. And guess what year we're in the bull market? Yeah, we're in year three. So you're absolutely right, Howard. I see something a little different. I see sideways. I see sideways action for three reasons. The first reason is you're right, up and down, right? They can't find a pattern, right? So it'll be up and down, and volatility will be very high. The second thing I think is zero DTEs are now 54% of the market right now. That is absolutely crazy. That will change. That will stop at some point. The gambling will stop at some point, but not right now. And that volatility will also happen. And the third thing is, as you're watching money being moved around from the baby boomers to people that are my age and your age investing, we're not buying the stalwarts, we're not buying Walmart and hoping for the best, right? We are investing, we are moving because we do understand technology. Ask my mom and dad about Nvidia, they'll tell me they won't know anything, right? To me, we're going to talk about that a little bit later here, but that change of needing that much data and needs of news and weather and sports like we have with Quasar here, that is what's going to be different. So I think we're going to have a very massive sideways action, but very high and very low. And it's going to set the tone for us traders. And then I think we just play within that box of and but it's not gonna be a Mag 7 or whatever you want to call them in the future,
Yeah,
whatever
the
names
new
we're gonna
now
give
eight
them,
since they want to include
whatever.
Broadcom.
Yeah,
Yeah, and traders love that. Two
right.
things that I would comment on that is number one, yeah, for traders, that's what we want. Volatility is what we want. One-sided trading actually scares us more than having
Real
volatility where you
quickly,
can.
Howard,
Oh,
Cintas is proposing to buy UniFirst for $275 a share. That's UNF. UNF.
yeah. Um, Cintas, the largest of the in that market, restaurant, hotels, hospitals, providing them with equipment and mostly like uniforms and things like that. And we are seeing them move up about 37.6% by UNF on that news.
Yeah.
Since you went to mergers, I'll stick with you there. Did you see Getty merging with Shutterstock also, making that jump tremendously here
When I
today?
saw that this morning, Howard, a couple of things went through my mind. Um, the first thing is, will AI replace pictures like that? So Shutterstock and Getty Images has for I can't even Paul. I mean, if you don't know the name Paul J. Getty, um,
Yeah.
he was the one in the newspaper business, right? That's how he got started. Of course, now it's his family. are we still going to need cameras to make pictures? It seems like everybody there and their brother and sister has a camera in their hand now, right? And I don't think so. I don't think Getty Images are going, and I think that's why they're going to Shutterstock, because they need stock images for their news and things of that nature. But let's talk about it. I mean, machines are now making pictures the way you want them to be made now. So do we
And
really?
Shutterstock is in that business. They do all the
Right.
AI things
So
like
that's
that. So
going
to
to help.
me, this is actually a legacy company saying, "Hey, what I used to
We're
do
behind.
is
Right.
is not going to be as I." Because here's the thing: is let's remember that Getty does have the most famous pictures, images in the of history, and
Right.
that's always still going to be needed. So that there is some of that. But they are seeing that, and I love to see that they are saying, hey, you know what we're doing doesn't work necessarily anymore. But Shutterstock, you are an AI based, app for a cell phone that teaches, allows you to have more, like you're saying, to use more functionality. So I like that in there, as a play in that way. I've got a little bit of a different one for you, but staying this sort of bigger picture thing. The other thing I noticed was private equity, continuing to buy services industries, moving into services
Yeah.
industries that you didn't really expect. And, we talked a little bit about it with doctors, right? That they got, huge into that. And the reason, I'm bringing that up is the Carson Group. Did you see that? One of the largest, private equity companies in the U.S. has just been on a ramrod acquisition. They just spent $1 billion to buy these other offices. And I have a buddy who is a second generation, independent family wealth sort of, advisor. And I noticed that he's just lumped into one of the big players in this space. So are you also thinking that, the private equity is realizing that services might be something that are, always, they're looking at that service industry a lot, it seems like to me, just across
Yeah,
major
I think
swaths.
a lot of companies over the last 4 years, and I think we just saw that a few minutes ago on TV. Lena Khan in her disastrous uh, interview there has been on the forefront of stopping mergers and acquisitions. In a time when we really should have had mergers and acquisitions, and in a time when there was low cost to borrow, and as the cost to borrow is going up, these companies are moving quickly. So M&A is going to be very hot right now. And you're right, Howard. I mean, moving into things that are not quite your business is creating a moat for these companies, and I like that a lot, especially. But you don't. But when I look at it from that perspective, um, I saw today where Meta, Facebook, was talking about Mark Zuckerberg, was talking about how they wanted to stop with the policing the words of what was going on and fact checking. And he said he wanted to get back to basics. He said he wanted to start to get back to basics. Great. And you know what he was doing the basics? He was doing mergers and acquisitions. He was adding companies into Instagram and things like that. That's what they're doing, and I think you're seeing that. It might not be his main focus, right? It wasn't. It was social media, but then Instagram was different, right? And then what all those things. So yes, I think you're going to see an expansion of business, meaning that it isn't going to be just Spirit Airlines and JetBlue trying to get together. It could be Spirit Airlines and JetBlue buying maybe a restaurant company to put into the system to make it maybe to get rid of margins, right? To make it a more efficient or more economical company. Yeah, I definitely see that, especially right now that Lena Khan is just about gone.
Yeah, I mean, and the like service industry, the same thing. I've noticed in the Midwest here. A lot of the HVAC companies, plumbers, are being bought up by these private equity, put into a thing. Because again, you're always going to need HVAC. Even AI will not replace
Yes,
heating and air conditioning. It might make it better.
Do you really want a plumber coming into your house that's owned by Citadel? Um,
Yeah,
because
I don't necessarily. Yeah, listen, I just report the news. I don't. I
well,
don't.
I
I'm
don't
not
mean it
here
like
to
that because of
influence
that,
it.
but their main concern is making money, right? Is
Right.
profit. So they're going to find every which way to make to hire a cheaper plumber to make more
Well, again, and
margin.
if
So
you were in private equity, you would say no. What we would try to do is bring in economies of scale, best practices. Because we have years of experience and all these guys and all this stuff, we're able to negotiate better pricing, and then we can pass it along. We train our employees better because now that plumber gets company provided support and training. So I could play that either way.
yeah, the words BS mean come to mind on that one.
Well, there's yes and no's to that. I mean, I'm definitely against private equity owning Jersey Mike's. I think that they will ruin that restaurant chain. They bought it. Not BlackRock, Blackstone did it. So I don't think it works in places like that. But I do think that there are some times where, bigger is better. So I do think you get some synergies there. And there are some industries where maybe it does work. And I do think that what Carson's doing with buying up some of these, registered investment advisors isn't a bad idea. I do think sometimes that, to compete in the world of today, you have to have more knowledge. You have to have better systems, as at Quasar. You have to have the best mousetrap. And that's going to probably be the bigger company. I mean, so I do think it has its place. And, we are about 15 minutes from.
As soon as you said that, Blackstone's joining a private equity deal in the U.S. accounting sector. I think, look, if you want to talk about mergers and acquisitions, accountants, right? I think you're going to see a massive M&A in there because, quite frankly, in the future, we're not going to need accountants.
It's the same thing we saw in. I mean, I had a lot of family that owned pharmacies growing up. And I think you did too. And as you know, they all sold out. They all sold to the big, there. And I don't know if it's better or worse. I don't. Even though my family was in it, some of the convenience that you do get, some of the hours. I remember
my mom and dad were very happy, right, when they got bought out. But I look at it. Okay, I grew up in talk pharmacy managing. I grew up in it, right? I grew up in that medical field my whole life. I counted pills myself.
Me too. Yeah.
Let's be real honest. It's not going to be the future, right? A machine can count pills. A machine is going to be faster than any pharmacist thinking about interactions, right? And another reason why.
Right, a machine won't make mistakes. A
machine won't make mistakes. That's right.
Yeah, it's so yeah. That's what I mean. Is innovation is not always bad. It's managing the expectations and making sure that they're still human. We don't end up in Terminator. Speaking of the future there, Steve, I do want to get in before we get into open and talk a little bit about NVIDIA. I mean, largest company in the world again overnight, past Apple again. We saw the CEO was the keynote speaker yesterday in San Francisco at the Consumer Electronics. And I'm excited. I don't know about you. What do you think?
I mean, 6 months ago, I talked about on Schwab Network, I talked about Blackwell chipsets. I know they stumbled a little bit on those Blackwell chipsets. But guess what? They are the hottest thing out right now. And one of the things I'm even looking at myself is buying a computer just for the AI side.
$3,000. I have it right here. The AI computer with a Linux. My problem is I don't know how to use Linux very well. But I already had that for you. That we needed a couple of those for Quasar. I'm already on it.
I think that's the case, though. I think we're going to see. I mean, I was at the Wall Street Journal event not too long ago. I saw the new Intel chipsets for their laptops just for AI. So each machine now will have a chipset for NVIDIA for the video, a chipset for the AI. Think of it like Qualcomm back in the day when Qualcomm was able to make, the phone side that was double-sided, right? Where one side was a phone, one side was the GPU for the machine itself, the smartphone. You're going to start to see that, right? Where they separate these things out. You have to have a video card just for video and a card just for AI, and you're going to have a card just for sound eventually.
Right, and for those that don't know, right now, basically, your graphics card is overworked to death. You use it for so many different parts of the world nowadays because so many programs are based in the cloud. It used to be everything was based in your hard drive, and that's why you needed RAM within your computer because that's what worked it. Nowadays, it's all your GPU processing. Like Steve said, you're going to start to see that you're going to have a GPU card, you're going to have an AI computing card for searching, you might have an IoT one that does all your IoT computing. That's your Internet of Things, your smartwatch.
I remember when Bill Gates told on TV, You'll never need a hard drive bigger than 860 megabytes. You'll never need anything bigger than that. I don't even think they sell them that low, right?
No.
Terabytes. Now, you're going to need more space on your computer. I'm telling you right now, desktops are not going away. I think desktops are going to be the future, but not desktops that we know today, like these big machines. I think Apple did a very good job, and I've got one. It's the iMac, the Mini, the Pro. I bought the Pro.
Yep, absolutely.
This big old freaking iMac on my machine. I don't need all that, and it works just as good as a laptop, and I can bring it with me. And if it
Yeah,
messes up,
yeah, I'm with you there. What I think we'll see is almost like what you see in a bigger data center, where again you have little components, they all kind of lock into one place, but you don't
right,
need that for everything. You know what I mean?
right.
It's the docking station almost set up.
You go to work
But
and you bring your box and you bring your
yeah,
box to home, right? It's the same machine. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I'm
And I
with
think
you
I
there.
think I think knock on woods, I'll say it here live, that I think Apple has done a very good job with that.
Wow. That I
Yeah.
wasn't. I was looking at my piece of paper. I wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah.
That yeah. They are, and that's and now that you have those machines, you are seeing their engineering of things, making it intuitive and making it sort of touch friendly and all that is unparalleled. But with that, going back to Nvidia, what I thought was interesting, and you could see it, is he's setting the stage, and what he was setting the stage for is chips aren't the only thing, right?
Right.
Their autonomous driving, their use of chips is only not just for AI. It's over there. Aaron Sure is extremely happy that you have come to the dark side and have joined us in Apple. It didn't take
No,
long to get him
I'm
fired
not
up.
joining Apple. I don't think Apple is superior. I don't think it is. I mean, I think Microsoft is way superior with their software. But I'm telling you, when it comes to sales, that Apple is really attacking that side
Well, you
of
just saw it.
sales,
It's the
right?
fandom. It is,
Yeah.
they have a cult, thing. I fall into it to a degree, so I'm just as
My
guilty as
my phone,
others.
if I had an Apple phone, it would not be able to keep up with me. I know that. I mean, I have an Apple iMac. I think it's called an iMac Pro Mini. It cannot keep up with me, right? And I need machines to be able to keep up with me. Now, it's a great toy and it's a great way to just watch your emails and I get that, but it's not something that it's a business. It's not a business machine, and because of that, I think that's where Apple needs to
Matters what
be.
your business is, because again, anybody
It
that's
is, yeah.
in sort of,
If you're using it for desktop publishing and all that, I
yeah,
think Apple is, and I don't think that's Microsoft. So
music,
business
art,
is, it,
that type of
yeah,
stuff,
I would agree
graphics.
with that.
They
It's a
definitely
toy.
do
It's
it.
a toy.
And I
I
can
mean,
tell you from my side on the crypto, the same thing. They work closely with Render to do
exactly.
shared GPU processing. They're very ahead of the game when it comes into that vertical integration.
Yes,
But getting back to
yes.
Nvidia, so Wedbush now calling for a $5 trillion market cap in the next 12 to 18 months. And as I said, it was more about diversification. They're looking at the robotics and autonomous tech side as a $1 trillion incremental
I
market
think they're wrong.
opportunity.
I think they're wrong. I think they go to 5 trillion within 12 months. Within
Okay.
12 months, because we're not slowing down. I mean, I was talking about this the other day on a show. I did a podcast talking about this very thing. That the problem right now, okay, for AI is that if for those of us that are old, if we think back to when websites were just being produced, and I was IBM and Microsoft and a few other websites out there, people didn't really understand, why do I need to look at websites? I don't need that. I know, okay, so Apple's got a little website and they're going to show a little few products. That's great. We can't even imagine not living. We're living on it now, right? The AI right now, I can't even imagine not living with AI today. I mean, it's my efficiency of running a business and is so much better, right? I can't imagine that not happening. And the same thing's happening right now. And NVIDIA is making that happen, right? And they're the only company out there that have the chipsets that actually integrate into everything. I know there's a few companies out there trying it. They're not going to beat NVIDIA. Jensen Wong is a machine. He knows what he's doing, and he has built it. And when I look at it from that perspective, when they had the problems with the Blackwell chipsets, he didn't just go back, well, let's go have a chat and talk about it like Tim Cook does. He said, screw that. We're going to fix these things and we're going to get them out the door. He did it in less than a month. So
Yeah.
that's why when he went to CES yesterday and told, he was the number one most watched in history of the CES. They wanted to see what he had done with Blackwell chipsets, and right now he is the winner. And I think that probably by October, November, we will see of this year, we'll see a $5 trillion company.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, he excited me, especially with all the different ways that they're looking at using Blackwell chips. You know how long? You know, starting in January 30th, you can start to order your new GeForce, Steve, with the Blackwell in there. So I am sure you will be doing that or telling me to order you one. So just wanted you to know that just January 30th that they're
Yeah.
releasing those. Um, let's switch back a little bit further away from this though. While you were gone, Carvana got slammed by Hindenburg. And if I pull it
What
up
else is new?
here,
I mean, Hindenburg. They've been wrong on the last three companies now. I get it. I just was in Orlando over the weekend, and I saw the Carvana showroom. People were, we're going to in the future not buy cars by going into the parking lot, right? I mean, I bought our last car. I didn't even need to sit in the car. I could have just bought it online. I didn't even
yeah,
need to
I've
sit.
done it for the last couple of cars. I do all my stuff online. I walk
The
in, I
car's
say,
on
I
there
want
right there
this
in the
VIN
door.
number to take a test drive, make sure it all fit in, and then just go from there.
Yeah.
Um, You know, they did point out some decent things in there. The biggest one, though, and the reason I want to point it out, and you know, we've seen a nice little 11-point move back up here, is, you know, a couple of things I wanted to point out is that it is attractive to me here because if we are looking at a spot where it consolidated back here in October for about 14 days before it broke out. We have just moved back through that spot, so I think it interests me on a sort of swing trade here. And number two is the biggest thing that was brought up is that they sell all of their loans to one company, basically, Ally.
Hmm.
But Ally renewed their deal with them on Monday yesterday, so that gives you a year leeway before you have to worry about that again. So this is one that I'd give the Hondo a thumbs up to, and one to keep a look on here,
And
maybe
I
for a
don't,
nice swing
when
trade.
I buy a car, in my case, we lease now. I don't care who takes over my lease, right? In our case, because of our credit, it's the same bank that we bank at, right? They're like, oh yeah, we got you. So I don't care who has my lease. I don't care who has my payments go to. It comes out of our accounts. That's
Yeah.
it, right? So I don't really care. And I don't think people really should care. The only thing that should care about is one thing and one thing only when you're making those payments, and that's interest rates.
Well, what they were afraid of is that no one else would buy the loans because Carvana
Yeah,
does deal in that lower end of the credit union, you know, credit
sure.
scores, and you know, Ally is sort of a buyer of last resort for their loans. But getting that buyer of last resort for me has them back in play here, and I'm looking for them to fill that gap back up to that 240 spot here is sort of what I'm looking at for a target. So Carvana, I just wanted to bring up. I definitely thought that, and I did see that RBC Capital Markets has given them a $280 price target here on one of the first upgrades since Hindenburg did that. So keeping an eye on that.
I
Talked
see
about.
Ron's asking about Shutterstock this morning. Yeah, Ron, we went over that. Obviously, Getty Images is looking at buying out Shutterstock. So, uh, of course,
And it
yeah,
looks
and
like that's going to be fast tracked from their side. Getty and Shutterstock have
yeah,
come to the merger agreement.
yeah.
Now it would go obviously to, you know,
But
to
I
the
think they just have to hold off until January 21st. I
yeah.
mean, right.
Steve, Moderna is starting to see a little bit of life here today. Looks like they are moving ahead in their trial processes with the bird flu
Yeah.
vaccine. You know, to
So I have
me,
two
these
thoughts
things are
on
sort of
that.
sell the news, right? I mean, you know,
Well, look, um, we're going to continue to get sick. I mean, that's just how it is. Moderna, but my concern is who the NIH director is going to be, or at the in this case the FDA for Trump. Robert Kennedy does not believe in vaccines, so we're going to have a whole bunch of sick people if nobody goes and gets vaccines. Um, Look, that's just silliness to me because we had a president of the United States who had polio.
yep, we did.
FDR, right? I mean, that's nuts, right? It should not have happened. Thanks to Jonas Salk, we have these we penicillin. I mean, half of the world would be. I mean, think about that. Think about that. 1 second. Syphilis, penicillin. If those things didn't happen, the world would be done, right? We saw the Black Plague, right? If had those things been fixed a long time ago, that's why we have healthier people today. right? I'm not saying go get a stick in your arm every time, but Moderna, Eli Lilly, these companies, Roche, they're all going out there and they're making these vaccines as fast as they can to keep us from getting sick. And I'll tell you, I'm happy to get a flu shot, and then every year I get a flu shot. And when I do get the flu, it lasts a day or two. It doesn't last a week anymore. When I go out and you'll think I don't get a COVID shot. Of course, I don't want COVID at all, right? But if you travel like I do all the time, um, I want to be able to limit that a little bit. And so I think that Moderna is one of those companies that, when I look at the biotech sector, there's three things I'm always looking at. If you know me, number one is R&D money, how much money they spend on R&D. Number two is, are they a company that has gotten drugs passed in the past through the FDA process? And number three is, do they have a distribution line, a good one? Those three things Moderna has. They went up for COVID. We all made, as you know, we all made money during COVID on Moderna. I think Moderna is one of those companies that probably will continue to go up. They're always on the forefront of those things. So I do like that. I do like Moderna, but no, I think Novartis, Eli Lilly. But when you look at a company like that in the biotech sector, and I know it's 9:30 now, getting ready to be 9:30, but I also look at, is it solving a problem that everybody has? And in Moderna's situation, yes, they do. I think I'm looking at Nvidia here, Mr. Greenberg, and I think I might just uh, be needing to buy some Nvidia here.
Okay, well,
We're
we are open here. Tick is starting up pretty flat here at around 33. There it goes up a little bit here towards 100. VIX is back down below the 16 handle. We'll point that out. Advanced decline opening up nicely to the upside of about 2,500 here. And all four of the major indices, Dow, SPY, QQQ, and the Russell, all opening up positive. Looks like small caps leading the way so far. Russell 200 up about 0.4 of a percentage point here. Gold starting to catch a little bit of a bid here, Steve, back above 26.50. We hadn't been able to hold above that, though, anytime here. And silver has regained the 30 handles. So we are seeing commodities move up. Steve mentioned NVIDIA. NVIDIA at 152 right now, up about 1.67%. Again, was up a few points yesterday. Also, Apple down about 0.5%. We do see Microsoft, Google, and Amazon in the green. Meta, Tesla, and Netflix to the red. Did see a downgrade on Tesla overnight also. I think it was Bank of America, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Bank of America security analyst John Murphy gave a downgrade on Tesla from a hold to hold from buy.
All right, I am now long Nvidia here. I will tell you where I'm long here. I went at market here, so I need to get my fills here, and I'll get those numbers for you here in a second. But I am long Nvidia here. So I am long at 152.30.
152.30. Okay.
And we're at 152.05 right now. So, well, I think it may just be a day trade though, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I might go a couple of days with it. I do like this trade though.
We'll say another winner from the chip sector has been Micron here the last couple of days. Again, a lot of talk, even mentioned a few times during the NVIDIA speech yesterday from Jensen Huang, was the fact that they are using Micron chips in some of their data, chipsets that they're using. So Micron up about 4.5% here again today. Another winner is Uber. Uber was mentioned in there for their partnership with the autonomous driving part of it. So we are seeing a lot of knock-on effects from yesterday's NVIDIA announcements. NVIDIA now down at 150 or so.
I'm about to buy a little bit more here. I think this selling's a little overdone here this morning.
And Getty is getting hit here, was up almost 45% this morning, now only up 30% as we see some profit taking again. Getty Images
Yeah, and
announcing that
I bought a
they.
little more Nvidia down here to lower my buy-in, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm liking this. I don't like the sell-off here. I think it's a little silly. But
Palantir continuing to get hit here yesterday. It was down yesterday, down another 1.5 here today. So after making that huge run, we are seeing Palantir pull back. Looks like it wants to. I had mentioned that I liked it here at a buy around 72, so might get my wish here. Might get down to that 72 level.
I mean, looking at 10-year now, goodness sakes, 4.632. My.
Yeah, 30 years up at 4.86, up another 0.3% here today. So rates continuing to climb. Nat gas has cooled off a little bit here, down to 377. So we have seen that. Oh, now back at 380 as I say that. Bitcoin holding up at 100K pretty nicely overnight. We are seeing a couple of the Trump-based sort of alts, Ripple and Cardano had been up nicely. They were sort of leading the way when it came to alts that I was looking at this morning. Same with Stellar XLM. Those were sort of the gainers this morning when it came on the crypto side.
Mm. I'm seeing a little bit of selling still in Nvidia for some reason. I don't know what they're thinking here, but
We do see out of the Mag 7 that Google leading Google and Nvidia, Netflix all positive, but Netflix looks like it wants to come all the way down. Nvidia here at 150.80, trying to bounce up here a little bit.
yeah, I'm not worried about this. I'm not scared at all with Nvidia. I think we go higher. I think some profit taking happened this morning, and I think that's what I liked, and I liked that this morning when I bought, and I think we'll push on that.
Yeah, like I said, they excited me yesterday. I do think we'll see it climb here over the next day or two for sure. Tick is slightly positive around 71. Advanced decline up around 28.50, so we are still moving up there. Steve, are you surprised at all that Zuckerberg came out? We sort of glossed through that with this, new move by Meta, or do it shows the influence of the incoming administration, right?
You got to bow to the new president. As one of my rules is, play the game in front of you. And Trump is the president elect, and he will be the one who makes the calls. Uh, that's is what it is. Oops.
I see, and that Goldman Sachs helping to put together a $1.1 billion deal to back CVC's capital buyout of CompuGroup Medical. Again, more merger and acquisitions just tend to dominate the news over the last 2-3 weeks.
Not liking the selling though in Nvidia though.
Another merger and acquisition, Steve. Paychex looking to buy
Yeah,
Paycor. That's a pretty
yeah, I
big
saw that.
merger.
Yeah, I think there'll be some. Yeah, well, what I just said this morning, accounting, all of that stuff's gonna be like not even needed in the future. It'll all be just put your name in, a social security number in, and that's your company, and you're gonna get paid by a big machine. I think I feel bad for accountants coming in school right now because they're not gonna be needed. That just is they're gonna have to change their their lives, but it is what it is.
Yeah. This one's interesting. Clifton Cliff CEO came out and said that she actually or he, excuse me, thinks that they could resicate the Nippon deal to buy U.S. Steel. I'm surprised by that.
Mm. He's the new president. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like there's gonna be some changes coming through. Well, one thing that he did say is that the trade war is still on. So um, steel is going to be one of those trade war issues. So for me, I don't see either way. I you know the one thing that you have to respect Donald Trump about is the fact that he says he's going to do something, he pretty much does it and sticks with it, right? I mean, he may not get what he wants. Mexico is not paying for the wall, but he's going to go after it, and he's telling you what he's going to do, you have to respect that as a president. With Biden, you really had no idea what he was going to do, if he was going to show up. So there's a different type of president coming back in. We kind of know and have a feel, but every single day is going to be what the tweet is, from the toilet. But we're going to have to play that, and that's okay. And that's what I'm saying. We're going to be it'll be very crunched. The volatility will be. But that's what we're at. But listen to what he has to say. I think it's very important to listen to what he says, because he's pretty much telling you what he wants to do.
Yeah, no, you can't argue with that. Seeing news here that the Washington Post has laid off 4% of its workforce
Yep.
from the New York
Yep.
Times there. Not surprising.
Won't be the only one. There'll be several newspapers like that. News is another one in the future. I don't think we'll need a lot of news in the future. It'll be all AI'd. Yeah, I don't see anything like that at all. Yeah.
Also see the Fed's barking out there talking today, saying that the Fed remains highly committed to the 2% target inflation.
Yeah, look, they're all saying the same thing. They're all back in order, in line. I get it, but I don't care what they have to say. This Fed is going to be put in line by the president. I think we just said that a few minutes ago. Wow, we're still seeing some selling here in Nvidia, now negative.
Nvidia down negative on the day now, 149.32, 149.23.
I understand that. I am long, and I'm going to stay long. I'm not scared of that, but like I said, zero DTEs are screwing up the markets. There's aren't people that are actually investing in Nvidia, so they're just trading, and it's okay. But I don't. That doesn't scare me at all. Down 0.3%, I'm okay.
As we look at the tick, staying right about neutral, just above 60 here. VIX back up towards just above 16. QQQ has gone negative as it's following the Mag 7 here so far today.
Yeah.
And this is just a little bit of sell the news, profit taking. Nothing else but that right now.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty quiet day today. I mean, we already seen that now, so yeah.
Yeah, next big news is until Friday's jobs numbers, right?
Right. And I think you're going to see some revisions over the holidays. You usually do.
They just had trade numbers this morning, but they came in right on expectations. So it didn't do much to move the market one way or the other.
Tesla now being cut to neutral from a buy from looks like Global Research, Tesla TSLA.
SPY is holding up so far positive, but it does look like we are trying to go.
You know what's quiet this morning is crypto.
I mean, yeah, it had its volatility yesterday. It sort of calmed down here right about the 100. We still are seeing a little bit of a premium on Coinbase versus the overseas markets, which is showing a little bit higher demand here in the U.S. than in the rest of the world. So it could give us a little bit of a move up here later today.
Yeah.
Not a huge spread.
I mean, we're
Cardano back at 113 here. That's a nice move up. It had dropped back below $1. Solana 213. I do think if Solana gets back around that 200 level, that's a good buying spot in there. If you can get some back in that spot.
And we're back to 150 already on Nvidia. That was cleaning people out, I think. Barton says if more price pressures have to be tougher with rates. I mean, they just keep saying they don't want to raise rates, or they want to raise rates. They want to raise rates. I think that's just silliness. The world is not where they think it is right now.
Yeah, there's still that disconnect. DXY holding up about 108.20 here, so hasn't really. That's actually calmed down a little bit in the last 12 hours, 14 hours here. Enphase up about 4.78% here, getting a little bit of love again today. It's an interesting one because it's got a gap to fill to the upside to about 84, 85 area. looks like it wants to make that move. Enphase Energy, ENPH here. If you look at the daily chart,
Nice little move here now on the Nasdaq here, back up. I think they just cleared some people out. I think that gas back to 378 here. I guess people think it's still kind of cold outside.
it is for sure. We're due for more snow later this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said it's not going to get warm enough. Expect all the snow that is here to stay all the way through January, basically.
Wow.
We usually get it and it's gone. I will say, end phase gets interesting to me here on a break above 77.25 to fill this gap up towards this 84 to 89 area. So you got some room in end phase here. Looks like it's trying to make a move strictly from the charts.
And Nvidia now positive back on the day. That gas pushing a little bit here, still pushing. The advanced decline line is positive by 27.33. So there's your answer to today, right? I mean, that's your answer,
Some more small cap.
right?
The rut is up about 0.65%. So we're seeing small caps try to catch up to yesterday's move by the Mag 7.
150.50 now on Nvidia.
Mixed bags across restaurants. Steve, do you see where Morgan Stanley is going to allow crypto trading through the use of E-Trade?
They will never have crypto on their platforms. They'll never sell it. They'll never ever have it. They'll never be part of crypto world. I've heard that so many times.
Until they announce that they do.
Do it
Yeah.
as my grandfather used to say in World War II, do as I say, not as I do. Look, I think Gandhi said it best, right? They'll make fun of you, they'll go to war with you, and then eventually just join you. So we're in it now, and I think that it's here to stay permanently. And it's buy the dips. I buy the dips on Bitcoin. That's all I do.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I sell profit off because that's just silly not to sell some profit off. But when it dips back down, I buy more, and I love stacking, and that's what I love to do. So I think you're getting quite a bit of opportunities. I think that's part of it. Now, it's a sideways trade that I like.
Yep.
So take profit when you can, put that money away, and then when it slips down, because it always does, and then buy more because Michael
Yep.
Saylor's out there telling you that. Morgan
Well, like I
Stanley's
said,
telling you
starting next week, I'm going to be doing a weekly show where I teach people how to use IBIT as a wheel trade in a retirement account to acquire stack more sats. What we're going to
that.
do, I'm
I
going
love
to
that.
sell covered calls or cash secured puts in IBIT. Use the profits from those premiums to buy spot Bitcoin. So we're going to have an interesting show there, teach people how to use Bitcoin to save for their retirement, do it in a tax deferred way, and stack more sats, like we said. So I'm excited to start on that next week. Getting a little help from Dr. Alan Ellman on that, our king of covered calls.
I love Alan.
So
Yeah.
it's not up his wheelhouse. He's made it clear he does have. He actually did admit he had a little Bitcoin, but it was it's going to be. He's just going to give me the advice on the option chains and some of the things the way I look to Scott Bauer for the same thing. I will say, Steve, one thing I just saw come across. We know the outgoing president has been, for the first time in 4 years, using his pen a lot to sign bills left and right, and he has just signed a bill that's going to ban medical debt on American consumers' credit reports.
Yeah, so it's normal. Presidents, as they leave office, Trump did the same thing. He signed a whole bunch of bills before he left, trying to at that point, legacy, right? We saw that with Obama signing, I mean, a myriad of bills.
Yeah.
It's not unusual. It's very normal. And the next president just comes in. They're called executive orders, or as we know it in the White House, they're called EOs. And those EOs are flying like water. Now, what's interesting is, and people don't know this, they're not just something that was just made in 5 seconds, right?
Right.
These EOs are made throughout the 4 years, and they look for what they call the trash, Friday's trash. They try to find the best time to put them out and assign them in a way that the news won't pick them up. And if the president's going out, then they do it. So this is not unusual. It's very normal. It's how it happens. And it happens every single time. It doesn't matter what the party is. And the next president comes in, and those EOs go away because the executive order is signed by the president. So it's at the will and testament of the president elect. In this case, he'll be in on January the 20th at noon. Nothing before that. If you don't, for those of you who don't know, I love this. I've worked on several inaugurations. That the president must be sworn in, that based on the Constitution, before noon on January the 20th. And so you will start to see those EOs from Trump team are already making those. So in that transition team, they're already working on those now to get rid of a lot of Biden's team's stuff. So anything that Biden is doing now, it's literally the seventh, third in less than 2 weeks. They'll all be going away. So to me, I don't really care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tick is going more positive here, up about 153. Do see Goldman Sachs getting hit pretty hard here, down about 1.22%. Not sure what's causing that news today. Up, actually, because they've been downgraded to neutral from UBS with a new price target of 610. So that is probably leading that. Bitcoin holding up at 100,000, almost 500 here. Gold holding above the 2650. So for about a week or two, we couldn't get above that 2625. Doing it nicely now. So good to see gold start to get some life back into it here.
Yeah, I mean it's just trading at this point. Trump will hold a news conference at 11 a.m. this morning at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, just seeing that come across too. I wonder what that's going to be. This should be interesting. Get ready, get your popcorn, and get ready to see what comes.
I think that's one thing that he actually might do this time around is less tweeting and more press conferences. One thing you did not see out of Biden very much was press conferences. That's disappointing because you never could nail him down because you never knew what elusive state he was in. And I think with Trump, you're going to see a lot more press conferences. He knows how to speak to the public. We've seen that in the previous administration when he did it. He was very good. Didn't agree with some of his policies, obviously, but I thought he always did a good job. I don't like the negativity that he has or degrading reporters because they're going to ask tough questions. You are the president; they're going to ask you tough questions. But he always gave good press conferences from the Brady press office. He always came through. If you don't know, in the White House, it's literally 3 doors down, the Brady press office from the Oval, and you walk through the press office, and the press is giving you, or his press secretary is giving you talking points that he's giving back and telling you what he's going to say. And they stay on the side of they stay on the side wall, and they wait for for him to say what he's going to say, his questions, and they pull him away if he's not asking them. I think he's going to be more reserved this year because I think he realizes that he has to be in a lot of ways, right? I think he's going to be more reserved. I may be wrong. I may be proved wrong here, but I think he will be.
Yeah, and we
I
can
don't think
hope
it's
for
going
sure.
to.
I do want to point out UK, the way the US government is printing money, UK's long-term borrowing cost hit its highest level since 1998. The yield on the 30-year gilt, which is, if you don't know, the UK's government bond, rose to its highest level since 1998, and that yield
It looks like
was
they're trying to raise some money to pay for. I mean, they got to pay for gas, and they got to heat those government buildings. There's a lot of things that they got to spend money on. Look, I remember in the late 80s when rates got to about 16, 17%. I mean, if I would, as an investor back then, I was too young, I would have probably stuck all my money in a machine saying 30-year bond or whatever, paying 17% and said, I'm done. I'll never trade again. I've been a happy camper, right? Getting 17% every year. This might happen again. If Trump's talk about tariffs are happening and he really does do it, we might see the same thing where rates go sky high. Have money ready to invest in bond market because the bond market's collapsing, as we all know. So That's it's
Yeah, and you can see, like I said, 5.212% for their 30 year. So we're at 4.8. You still got about a half a point, win here in the U.S. there, but it is getting ugly everywhere when it comes to rates. Nvidia, Steve, struggling to get back above 150 here. It has gone positive back on the day, but
yeah.
struggling to hold.
I'm gonna hold it for a couple of days here. I think we're good. I think that I'm the Blackwell chipsets are good, and I think yeah, no, I'm not scared about this one at all.
Here's some of the disconnect again. Fed's barking. Consumer debt is nowhere near the alarming levels of the 2000s. I think that it is.
Barkin's barking. I mean, Ellen is a. I mean, I met her a couple times. She's a nice lady, but I don't. I'm not a big fan. So
Yeah, I think the problem that she's not realizing in consumer debt, though, is at alarming levels for our middle class and below.
yeah,
And
and
it's
you're seeing
not
the
at
sell off.
alarming levels for people who have money. And
Yeah,
that's where that disconnect is. Also seeing OPEC output actually fell by 50,000 barrels from in December from November.
wow, that really hurt the markets there a little bit with her speech. Wow.
Down at 148.
I'm not scared though, Howard. I mean, I'm long, and I'm
No,
gonna
like
stay
you said,
long.
this is a swing trade. I'm with you. I'm getting in it here today. I just giving it a little bit more time to work its way out here, especially if he's going to speak at did you say 11 or 11:30?
11, yeah.
11. I got to write that down so I make sure I watch that. Um, yeah, I'm with you. I like it. I just hold it off a little bit more. Google flying up today, 1.75% back above 200 here, for the first time since what, December 16th. So Google
And now
starting to move.
CFTC chair Ross Venom now says he's going to resign on January 20th. I
That's
respect
a
him.
shame. He's done a good job.
He has done a very good job. I do like the CFTC chair, and he has done a very good job. And he was very positive for crypto. Um, but he wanted to take crypto over, right? And so um, the argument between him and Gensler about who should regulate it, based on the Howey test, it was, I understand why, but to me, it's like, yeah, it's splitting hairs. If you ask me, I think as a member of ABCA, I'll say that I think that it's its own asset class and it should have its own commission, like commodities have as a commission and stocks SEC. I think digital assets should have its own, but that's me.
Well, you know my philosophy there is the same: is stop trying to put something into a basket where it doesn't necessarily fit.
Square hole,
I
round peg.
teach my 4 year old every day that the star goes in where the star goes and the square goes in where the square goes. I don't say keep pushing it and turning it until it fits in there. And that's what they've tried to do with crypto and just financial innovation.
We're gonna
We're
hold.
gonna
Speaking
we're
of
gonna
Bitcoin,
see
we're
that
gonna hold
same
down.
thing pop up as AI continues to grow out too, where regulation won't fit it properly. So hopefully we have technologists in. That's one thing I can't argue with. I might not like what is going to come out of the people that are in charge now, whether it be David Sachs or some of these others. But they are, at least in my opinion,
Mm.
qualified to make decisions when it comes to financial innovation.
Are we gonna hold here at 100,000? I don't think so. It looks like we're gonna lose it, and we just saw it was selling here on Nvidia as well. Ouch.
Yeah, we're
What
seeing
happened
selling
here?
across the board here, except for the small cap continuing to rise up. Now up almost
That's a big
three
sell on
quarters of a
Nvidia.
point here. Bitcoin holding right at that 100K here on Coinbase, but I would look at more at that 50-day MA at 97,779 as the key support today. 97,779, and as you can see, I already have on my charts 96,581 is where I would be looking to maybe buy a dip, followed by 91,812.
Not liking the selling here in Nvidia. But
Tick has gone negative here, down about 140 here.
yeah.
I am on Nvidia targeting about one. Just have that as. I'm targeting 144.50 for an entry there. Let's see if it can get down there again towards that 50-day MA. I probably will have to put an order in at this 145.15 or so. I'm actually
Yeah,
going to do that
I'm
right
not
now. I'm
too
putting in a
cognizant.
buy order on Nvidia at 145.15.
Yeah, I'm not scared at all here. I think this you might miss it actually because I think that selling whatever that was a dump across the board on the in the markets, and we just broke 100,000 on the Bitcoin there. Ouch! Still some more selling there.
145. We're getting close to my fill.
Yeah, you think you're gonna get it?
It's in. We'll see. Not so far, but I will be patient.
145.50 you said?
Yep.
I think you missed it by 9 cents here.
Like I said, I am a patient gentleman.
I'm still seeing more selling here.
145.88. Trying to get down to my level.
I'm not seeing any news that make me change my mind. So that's 146.20. I'm gonna stay
Seeing
long.
some of the
I'm not.
information come across now from the trade numbers this morning. So the trade balance is a deficit right now of 78.2 billion, which was right about at the anticipated level. The gap is about 4.5 billion larger than the previous month. Imports were up 3.4%. And that was higher than the experts expected. A lot of that, I believe, is front running into what might come next month, right?
Yeah. And I was struggling at the 100,000 K there handle there.
Bloomberg just reported that Bitcoin is one of the most audacious and successful financial experiments in modern history.
Same company that hated it about
Yeah,
4 years
that
ago.
wouldn't cover it and has only done hit piece after hit piece.
Right. Bond market is still pushing here. It's unfortunate, but we're starting. Yep, it just popped out of there. 4.667. Mm.
Steve, seen a report here from Redfin saying that 1/3 of U.S. homeowners say they will not sell their homes, never, based upon the rates.
Yeah. Why should? Oh, ticks down 1,000 here. What are we seeing here? 10 o'clock news coming out. Yeah. Let's see what the.
I'm not seeing anything come across. Everything I'm seeing is basically the older news about the
ISM
stuff there.
ISM
I
survey
just
numbers.
got my fill on Nvidia at one.
Joel's coming out now at 8.08 million, but consensus was 7.7 million. So a lot of people are losing their jobs there. We talked about that. ISM numbers coming in at 54.2. That's what the forecast. Previous was 53.7. So ISM services coming in at 64.4. Wow, forecast is 57.5. So we talked about services this morning, right? Services. Down 1,400. So on the tick there. So yeah, this might be inflation seeping in, and I think this is where people are saying, "Oh, we need to raise rates again." It's just no, silly, silly.
I will say I got my fill at 145.50.
Wow, Bitcoin's getting slaughtered here now. 99.4 now, 99.1 now. Continue to sell off here. Just lost 99,000 here. 99.2, 99.3. Wow.
Yeah, I'd look for it to retrace right to the 50-day MA here pretty
Too many
quickly.
nervous people in this market. It just is what it is.
Again, yesterday was a pretty big day. You go up 5%. Don't be expect not expect people to take profit. It was trading at 96,000 yesterday at one point. It went up to 102.
And I
So,
did take profit. I took profit at 102.
you did
We
it
talked
right.
about that.
You can't get mad if
Yeah.
they do it this morning versus when you did it.
Because it's stupid. Why take out when it's high, not when it's
Well,
dropping?
what it is, yeah, see, but you're smart and you've been doing this for 30, 40 years. You know,
Yeah.
new investors don't get that. And
Be
what
the
they did
ticker
is
taker.
what do we call that? Capitulation, right?
Yeah.
They were making a ton of money and then they starting to run away. So what do? They
Well, I always say
capitulate.
the same thing. Be the ticker taker, right? Be there at
Yeah.
the door when everybody's screaming, buy. I'm like, thank you very much. I'll sell you to you. And then when they're doing this, then I'm like, okay, well maybe I need. And there you go. There it is.
Yeah.
99.8 already back up. So Sailors down there, they're buying them down there. I'm not
Yeah,
scared. There's
there's
nothing
too
here.
many buyers. These
Too many
dips are
buyers.
short lived. You've got to buy them quickly. You have to have your orders in. You're not going to catch them, otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. Sure is saying Joel State is hot. Absolutely. Um, Turnover survey. It's job opening labor turnover survey. It is Janet Yellen's favorite. Let's see who the Secretary of the Treasury is going to be. We think it's going to be. I don't know. That's going to be a really hard question. But Jolt is not a favorite number of a Republican administration. So they look at more things like consumer uh, credit. They look at because they love debt,
They
right?
they they care about confidence, consumer confidence reports
Consumer
because they're smart.
confidence.
I pointed it out in our Slack this morning, right? The disconnect that Lena Khan wouldn't admit that she's made even one mistake since she's been in office in 4 years, and Andrew Ross Sorkin.
They lost. They lost the election. They lost big, right? I
But
mean, she
you had Andrew Ross Sorkin who couldn't be more a part of that sort of world. Look at her like she was crazy, and even gave her an out. Said, "Hey, listen,
yeah.
Kamala lost the election because she came on and basically said that they've made no mistakes in 4 years. You're now going to say the same thing?" Oh yeah, the courts have proved me out, and he just went right after that. So I have to give him credit because usually he's got.
First thing you learn in Washington D.C. is to say I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The public is very forgiving for people that are wrong. We're all human, but to say that we don't make mistakes and we did everything right, that just proves that you're an idiot. So she's a smart lady. I'm not going to say that she's a smart lady, but she's very misguided. And I think a lot of it had to do with the administration. Now, look, we saw it with Gensler, right? Gensler was very pro Bitcoin. He was even a professor of it, right? And then the administration says, no, you're going to hate it. And then so he had to go against it. Look, good luck with Lena Khan getting a job anywhere in Wall Street. It's not going to happen.
Oh, she'll be a teacher.
Yeah, she'll be a professor.
A professor. So I got an interest one I'm sending to our man Paul Valela is job openings rose unexpectedly to the highest level since March. I want to find out what sectors he's seeing that in. Because when we had him on last time, he made that clear that it was sort of deceiving when we saw those numbers like that in October, that they were really led by the rebirth in the hospitality industry, that it had a lot of layoffs, and it was the result of hiring after the hurricanes had come through.
And I'm going to send you the JOLTS numbers here, Hondo, so that you can see them firsthand. There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna stick around for a little bit because I think today's a kind of exciting day. Actually, yeah, we're already seeing buyers stepping back in. I think 99.4 already. So, yeah, I'm not too scared about what's going on. The bond market's pushing up. Um, for those of you who don't know, and when the bond prices are going up, interests are going up. They have to because people are not buying those bonds, right? So they got to
Right.
raise the rate to get you to attract you to actually buy them. And in this case, we're not seeing that. So they're having to raise the rates.
Yep, we saw it yesterday in the UK, seeing it today in the US. And again, that becomes extremely expensive and exasperates our issues with our deficit, for those that don't know.
146 again now on NVIDIA there. 99.1 again now, 99.2. So let's come on, Mr. Sailor, get in there and do some stuff here.
NVIDIA did regain 146 here, so it's starting to move back up after coming down there.
Yeah, I'm not scared at all on NVIDIA. It's a swing trade here for a little bit.
The Czech National Bank is now weighing Bitcoin purchases for potential reserve asset diversification from our friend Walter Bloomberg. So again, now
the FDIC told them not to buy Bitcoin, and now all of a sudden, now they're going to buy a Bitcoin. It's interesting. It's appalling to me. This administration was appalling to me.
That's actually the Czech Republic Bank, Steve.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Czech their national bank, their reserve bank.
Oh, the National Bank of Czechoslovakia. Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah. I didn't
Sorry
see
about that.
Sorry. Now we get 98.8 now on Bitcoin. So if you're looking to purchase back into it, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty interesting place for me. Yeah, I kind of like this area right here.
Like 90, more at that 98
I see the
level.
50. I see the 50 DMA, but Sailor ain't playing around. There it is. It's already back to 99,000. I had a feeling that's where it was. Yeah,
Still a long day. We'll see. Remember, 24-hour day in Bitcoin. So
it is.
these patterns usually reverse itself. I think you could see that 97,658 retested here today. Held up at that. We got a little bit of support here right between 98,750 and where we're at right now at 99, but got a lot of red on the VPR here.
What do
Ready
you
to
think Trump's going to talk about at 11 o'clock?
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's just about his court case because didn't they make some rulings there yesterday? So that's where I was
You,
wondering now.
this is what I'm talking about. You are the president of the United States now. Shut the hell up and talk about the White House. Talk about what's these things. Forget about your court cases. Nobody cares anymore. We already know you're a criminal. We already know all these things you've done. Stop it. Just become president and run the country. And I think if he does that, I think he'll become a very popular president. Right now, he's not a very popular person. He's got a 39% approval rating. Um, you know, Biden's actually have a bigger, better approval rating than Trump. But that doesn't mean you're going to become president, right? So now become president and actually run the country. And I think he's going to. I think you're going to see a different president here. I've said
I
this.
hope so. I mean, we are. Listen, the stage is set and it's ready to go. All he's got to do, it's lined up to push this economy forward. Will
Yeah,
not be that bad. Seeing that
that's
Russia's
fine.
seaborne crude exports tumbled to the lowest level since August 2023. So we do see a lot of things exasperating the gas prices here.
You gotta give our gold boy Peter Thomas some street cred here. You kept telling you sell gold, and gold keeps continuing to get slammed here. So you know what? He's been right all the way.
Yeah, he has nailed it. He is coming on next week to talk to us about gold and what's going on for the next
Excellent.
couple of months.
And you can buy gold right on the platform. You can buy it through AU Secure, right through our platform. It's very simple. Just put AU Secure in your platform. Boom, boom, boom. It comes up. You tell it what you want to buy. You want to buy silver or gold, and you can do all those things. I've got silver and gold from it, so I love it.
Yep, absolutely. One of the great things with Quasar Markets is that it is not just stocks and options. It's got, everything for the crypto trader, the commodity trader, all built in, the futures traders. Everything is right there that you need.
74.14 now on crude oil futures here, light sweet. If you haven't seen the show Landman, I definitely suggest that. There,
I've been wanting to watch it. The wife has no interest, so I'm gonna have to do that one on my own, but I am gonna get on that.
it's pretty much how oil is done. As someone who owns oil wells myself, I can tell you, and I know it's pretty much how it's a dirty business, and it is exactly what it is. I'm really liking this. You know what? I like the ticks pushing up here, guys. If you're out there and you're looking to buy, I like everything out there right now as a push back up. I think we're starting to see a little bit of sellers capitulate a bit here this morning.
Yeah, definitely.
Tick was down 1,500 at one point. We're only down 383. So yeah, there it is, down 287 now. So the buyers are, I think the sellers are capitulating a little bit, and I think we're gonna push right back up. 98.6. I think you're right though, Howard. I think 97,000 somewhere around there is probably where it'll bounce back. But I don't know. I like Bitcoin here. I think Saylor has got more on the sidelines and he's looking to buy more. I personally cannot be short Bitcoin at all, any way, shape, form, or fashion. I think it's a widowmaker.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there. You know my philosophy on that for sure. Um, and I do think that we'll see him do some sort of buy even if it's a small buy, I do think we'll see that the US will buy some Bitcoin there in the month of January.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a small little purchase that means nothing except that shows that he, fulfilled his promises.
Speaking of fulfilling, we need to see the SPR filled back up. So we've not seen that done yet, and I do think that that's something you will see with the Trump administration's oil, oil, oil. He will say drill, drill, drill. I don't think drilling is the answer. We already have enough holes in the ground. We already have enough oil. We know where it all is. I think we just need to turn the spigots back on.
Right. And that doesn't happen overnight, though, right? Doesn't it, take? It's going to take them
Correct.
some time to do that.
And I think we should also spend money on fixing up our refineries. Our refineries are old, and we need new refineries. Look at
Yeah,
this.
well, I mean, you got to spend on that infrastructure for sure, without a doubt. Gold back below 2650 here again too. Bitcoin getting close to where I would be interested here.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I like everything here right now. I think it's quiet market now. I think the profit taking is done. I'm going to stay long on
Well, we'll find out at 11 whether or not we're right or wrong, because I have no doubt that that is going to move the
we'll stick
market.
around till 11. How about that? Why not?
Okay.
I haven't done that in a while. I haven't stuck around for a while with you. I think you've been doing a great job while I have been gone, and
Thanks, sir.
you are going to be taking over here as Quasar Markets goes to Japan. We are going to be on our way. I'm leaving Thursday for Tokyo, where we have the new Japanese version of the platform. It will be coming out. It's done. We're just finishing up the little bows and touches. But it is going to look good. And we're going to have in several countries, not just Japan, but I'm on my way there. And I understand, 16 speaking engagements at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where I will
Wow.
also be going to Switzerland and talking to the world about our platform. So I'm very excited about that too, as well as we grow out the whole platform. And I have some personal news. I think, Howard. I know that I have been personally losing weight, and we've been talking about that for a while. And I've now lost 80 pounds.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
You.
Look great.
Um,
Look great.
and yeah, and I think that's part of what's going on. Restaurants are hurting because of it. People, steak prices are going through the roof because of it. And I've noticed it. And I think you're right. I was in a couple bars over the weekend when I went to the game, and people aren't drinking nearly as much as they were. They just aren't. Um,
Okay, Steve, you're never going to hear me say this usually, but I have to agree with Peter Schiff. He pulled out a chart of the CRB, which is commodity prices, and it shows
uh,
how it's soaring over 28% in the last 7 months, hitting a 14-year high. How can the Fed look at this chart and conclude inflation is headed lower? Inflation will drive both consumer prices and bond yields sharply higher in 2025.
you know, Peter is an interesting fellow. I've had the opportunity to meet him several times through the Benzinga, and he's very adamant about his positions. But let's be honest, he sells gold. That's what he does. Um, Precious metals, and that he loves it, and I get that. I think that Peter's Thomas is better because he doesn't need to have an opinion on gold to sell his gold. But Peter Schiff has always been negative on crypto. I would be more reluctant to listen to him um, if he wasn't so negative on everything out there except for his thing. It's like me hating on the Cubs just because they're the Cubs and I don't. So I get it, but I respect Peter Schiff a lot. I think he's a very intelligent, very smart person who's been around the game a long time, and you can't stay long as he has in this game and get it wrong. Um,
Oh, you can. He has. Come on. He's missed Bitcoin completely. He
that's true, but one
he
asset
had
class.
he had a bank taken away from him in Puerto Rico, right?
Sure, he did. Yes, and my friends were there when it happened.
Yeah, so but yeah, no, but I agree with him on this case that like we said, commodities keep going up. Nothing that our incoming administration can do is going to stop the problems with the orange juice, with crops, with it just doesn't. And adding tariffs to that, since we get most of that stuff overseas, is
That's
only
why I don't
going to
like my tariffs.
exacerbate it.
Do we
You
really,
know,
with inflation going up, with all these issues, do we really want to add to inflation through tariffs? I mean, that's just, if Trump comes out and says no tariffs, the market is going to boom. It'll be boom town. It'll be like 1925. Um, just say that, but he's not.
I did think this was interesting. I saw this yesterday, Steve. Did you see that this yesterday was the first time since 1989 that a Republican presidential candidate victory was certified without a single objection from House Democrats?
Nor should they. That's the way that it should be. The transition should be that smooth and not like January 6th, 4 years ago. That was an atrocious situation. It happened in Washington. It should never have happened. It's terrible. It's disgusting, and he should not be pardoning those people either.
Nah,
You
I'm with
you
you there.
damage the. I mean that is a hallowed ground, regardless of who serves in those offices. Um,
Bitcoin looks like it's going to come right back down to those levels here.
yeah, and we're still seeing some more selling, but it's just a day of selling. I'm not too scared about it. We're about to hit 80,000 on our followers there on Twitter. If you're not a member follower and us on Twitter, you gotta do it because man, we've got some great news out there on our Twitter tweets and Twitter feeds. We
Steve, the
really
30
have.
year just broke above 4.9 here. 4.9.
Oh dear God. Yeah, look, I'm not selling my house. There's no reason for it. If you own your own home, what I mean by that is you don't have a mortgage. That's the only way you own your home. By the way, if you make a payment in your house, you do not own your home. The bank does, no matter how much you owe on it. But if you own your home, you are a happy camper. If you have a mortgage that's not an ARM, an adjustable rate, you are not a happy camper. If you have like you did Hondo and locked it in, you're not going to have to worry about refinancing or refi that because you'll never see that again. And
Don't
I
tell me that. I have one free refi. I want to use it.
you might as well just you don't want to do that. You just
It's not going to
you're,
happen, but
you're good to go, man. I think you guys did a very good job there with
Nasdaq
price.
down 1% here this morning. So
Yeah, I
selling
think
continuing
I
here.
think it's starting to silly here at this point. I get it, we're on a high, and the pullback is going to happen, but they're just laying it on right now. The talking heads are coming out. Oh, the world's going to end, dying now. No, it's not really. It's not happening. So, but I really want to see a nice
Yes,
pullback.
this has been a pretty big swing. Even the rut that was up, almost a full percentage point earlier today, now down 6/10 of percentage points. So we've seen
And
about
gold just jumped $20 there. So
we do see fear and greed now in the negative 41 here. So anything
good,
less than 50 is negative view on
good,
stocks.
good. Be negative that way. I like buying when people are well, it's Warren Buffett, right? Be greedy when others are fearful.
Absolutely.
Tick now up 500. I mean, we just said that up 600 now. So the selling was zero DTEs. That's what they're doing. So the gambling is still going on. It will stop though. It always does. We saw a lot of that, and other SPACs was a good one. SPACs went for about 3-4 years. Then people realized that they were a scam, and you're starting to see the same thing now. So, yeah, I'm not. None of this scares me here.
So I did get some feedback from Paul Valea, who said he is not seeing it with his clients yet, that there is this surge in job openings. So I
Yeah,
did want to check with our man, and again, he is the CEO of Capital Hire, one of the largest executive search companies in the U.S.
love Paul.
So I did feel that number didn't make much sense to me. So he's saying that he's not seeing
And
the.
here's the thing about Paul Lilla. He's a man on the ground. He knows it,
That's what I
right?
mean. And like you say,
As
channel checks.
opposed
That's why I
to
went straight to him. The guy,
okay.
he's responsible for thousands of people either getting or not getting jobs over the a weekly period. He's going to know what's going on there. So that's what I wanted to see if he was seeing it, because I had not heard much about that. Steve, I do see
I,
Arnold Palmer's family home in Palm Springs is up for sale there. If you need something over there in Arizona, go ahead. A nice Quasar Markets winter resort would be nice this time of
Quasar
year.
West. Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, you're already warm. You don't care about us.
It's watching the markets here a little bit. I there's two things I'm seeing right now, and I think the first thing we're seeing is no one's trading. No one's really buying and selling here. I don't. I think the volatility has slowed up a little bit. Now we do have to remember one thing that Thursday we will not be trading. The markets are closed for Jimmy Carter's
Right. Yep.
funeral.
I meant to
So
ask you about that, but I assumed I would not have to be here since there isn't anything going on.
no, you will not. When the markets are closed, we don't. We're not here.
Yeah. Hey,
Regardless of
Steve,
what
I am seeing here J.P. Morgan just became the last of the Wall Street banks to pull out of the climate
yeah.
finance alliance, that net zero
Last
banking
year when
alliance.
I heard it at WEF that DEI is everywhere, I said, listen, it's all dead. The whole thing is dead. No, no, no. Yeah, it's dead, and it's just a matter of time at this point. It's dead, It's more dead now than it ever has been, at least for the next 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't argue there, and I do feel bad for our man Ted, who that's his field.
yeah.
He'll do well though. He will recover and move into a different side of that company, but that's what he does. Tick stay getting back a little bit positive here. The Dow has stayed positive. I have to say that Dow is
But the
still
advanced
up.
decline line is down 1,500, so it
Yeah, and that
might
was
be
up
still
almost
looking good.
3,000 earlier, so definitely hurting there.
I
Gold
mean, the
back above
market's
the
looking for liquidity.
2650 line here.
The markets are looking for liquidity. I get it, and that's what we're going to see.
Steve, do we start to get to a spot where you would think to short WTI or any of the gas?
Hmm. Widowmaker. Well, hmm. Look, I saw it very clearly a few weeks ago when I talked about nat gas at $3. It's easy. It's easy money. And yes, it sometimes slips below it, and sometimes it goes above, and plays around. But really, natural gas at 3 during winter? No. Uh, to me, that's what it's about. I wouldn't be putting big positions on UNG or nat gas futures. I just wouldn't do that. Not right now. The play was done, and we nailed that play. And big props to Paul Villela, who really nailed the play. He kept it longer than I did. It's one of my biggest problems in trading. I usually get out too quickly. But no, I mean, if nat gas gets below $3 again, yes. The other time, obviously, is when it's really, really, really hot, because we well, but no. And I think you'll see if we don't see issues in Russia abating, then no. I will say this much: Trump may be talking to Putin about what's going on and saying, "Look, enough's enough. These are real people in real lives. So, you know, nothing good ever comes out of a Cold War." Which is what we are in. If you don't think we're in a Cold War. I mean, we may not be supplying them directly, but we are supplying weapons to Ukraine for them to fight their own war, but we're not supplying people, um, as we call it, boots on the ground. But if that doesn't stop, Trump may be the one that says, okay, enough's enough, right? He might send troops. But if
Seeing
you look
that
at the
home builder spec inventory is reaching insane levels, close to 2008. I'm going to pull these numbers up here. We're at 124,000 in builder spec inventory right now. To put that into perspective, in 2022 it was down at 30K. We've crossed a level here that we haven't seen since 2010.
yeah, ticks up 400 now.
So even the home builders can't sell the new homes. That's troubling
No,
because
but I will say here in Florida they are selling. I mean, where I live in Winston Chapel, they're just. I mean, the minute the home is built, it's gone. There's a for sale, there's a sold sign on it before it's even built. I think it's a matter of where you're building these homes. Um, in Florida is still not stopping. I know that people are saying, oh, the transfer of homes aren't, new home sales are still high, especially
that's
in my
surprising to
area.
hear because Tampa had one of the biggest declines and maybe that's part of it. They've had housing
Yeah, they had
declines.
the biggest jump, right? And this
Yeah,
looks
so
like a big
that's yeah,
decline,
so that
but
that does make
no,
sense. I guess there's some deals to be bought,
that's correct.
and it makes sense that Florida would be a little bit more insulated too because a lot of retirement homes, a lot of people still want to get out of Ohio and move to Florida to retire and things like that. So a little bit
Florida
of
has the
demand
older
there
people.
because I've noticed here in my area it is very rate dependent. When we got that when the election happened and rates dropped quickly for a week or so, we saw a big amount of new homes in our development get sold that were left. And now, since the rates have gone
Yeah,
back
if
up,
you're a
it's also
realtor and you're a Republican, it's doesn't make sense, right? You want rates to go down. So, uh, well, okay, all right, Nasdaq, I see you pushing here.
starting to see some of. So the Trump's Interior Secretary pick will be go for their hearing in front of Congress on January 14th. So we're starting to see some dates there. I think that will start to move the market a little bit too. Tick has gone positive. VIX has been up 5% here today, so volatility back in play a little bit today. Makes sense too with the president here getting ready to speak pretty soon.
Yeah, I think we should stick around for that speech.
Sure.
I do have a meeting at 11 though, but
No problem.
oh,
We will do
Nvidia
it.
dropping here a bit. Ouch.
And I can hang on after 11 here for a little bit, and then we'll go to... Hey, Zora, how are you doing? Look, that 50-day MA is what I'm looking at, Zora. There, the 50-day MA on Bitcoin. 97,800, I think it was, in that range. Just below us, yeah, 97,750 in that range. JP Morgan also announcing they are bringing all staff back to the office 5 days a week. Not
Yeah,
surprising
as they
there.
should. Yeah. Nvidia now down about almost 4% here on the day. I think that's a little bit much.
Yeah.
Tick now at 250. Ripple down about four and
So,
a half percent now.
is it? Yeah, everything that was up has reversed. Same thing with Cardano would have been up nicely. It has reversed. Again, just profit taking. I think people are scared.
Zero DTEs. The volume is not that high. Right now, the average volume on NVIDIA is 201. We're already at 116. So, I think it's zero DTEs are just attacking it right now. Don't like it though. Don't like the selling. I think a lot of this is tariff fears, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's why 11 could be explosive either way.
If Trump does
What's
talk about
interesting
tariffs,
here, Steve, is that the 20-year Treasury bond ETF TLT is actually down 8 tenths of a point today.
yeah,
Why would that
yeah,
be down?
because it's the long bonds. I don't, I don't. Wow, we're seeing Nvidia continue to sell off here. Now down over 4% on the day. I think that's just silliness at this point. Might have to buy some more here on that. That's dip here.
I will say Micron is one of the only chips to be reversing that and still up 5%. It has come down here a little bit over the last hour or so, but still holding up close to 5% up for the day. QQQ down 9 tenths of a percentage point. And the reason I was looking at TLT there is I saw it come across. We have $7.6 billion in debt coming due next year that we're going to have to sell bonds on as of now.
We're seeing a big bear sweep in Nvidia. Like that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening. They'll have to buy that back up at some point. So we'll see. Yeah, the
$7.6
selling here.
trillion of debt coming due. Wow.
Oh, this is really hurting me a little bit this morning.
Yeah, QQQ now down just a little bit over 1 percentage point here.
Mm. Yeah, if you look at the 1 hour chart on Nvidia, that's just ridiculous. It's oversold here.
And our size at 40. Does look like it might challenge 140 though, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, don't care.
If it does hit 140, I might put in a little bigger order. So I'm seeing now Donald Trump's lawyers are seeking to block the release of a report detailing special counsel Jack Smith's investigation of the incoming president. So I wonder if that's what Trump is going to talk about here at 11. Video coming off the lows of the day, got down to 142.19 there, back up around 142.70. Tick though is still negative here, down 100. Advanced decline increasing down negative 1700 here. VIX has spiked up to 1733 here yet so far.
Yeah, I think they're all worried about rates. You've heard the Fed screaming about how great the inflation's going to go up, 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 and it's just silliness, silly talk. It's not. The world's not that great right now. Job openings. I mean, it's where you see the numbers right there. They are.
Yeah. We'll mention we have at 11:30 Jeremy Vreeland and Matthew Tuttle coming up to do the watch list. And then at 1 o'clock, we get Scott Bauer from Prosper Trading discussing Vega and how it affects your option pricing. So a nice little session on Vega. I have to say, that's one I'm not well versed in.
Volume. 143.
Seeing more bad news out of the UK. Their UK construction growth just slowed to a 6-month low, their PMI is showing.
Yep.
So more trouble out of the UK. I wonder if that's moving the DXY up at all.
No, I think they're beaten up enough. We're now below 98,000 handle here now. 98, 99, 97.9 now on Bitcoin.
DXY did pop back up, back around 108.42, so it is actually moving back up here. And the pound back down to 125. Euro getting smacked here today too, 1.037.
Nvidia now below 142, now down 5% on the day. Still not worried, still not scared, but I don't like it here. This is zero DTEs, guys. They'll have to cover those shorts. So
Our 10-year yield is about to break the highs of last year.
back above 98,000 again on Bitcoin.
Man, so if we break this 4.74, we're looking at a run towards 4.9 here on the 10-year, aren't we?
Yes, we are. It's not good.
4.9, even 5. Wow. That's
Hopefully our president-elect will take advantage of this and talk about it.
yeah. Hey, we got some good news there. It looks like Paramount and Comcast renewed their distribution agreement. So
Oh, good.
those of you that have Comcast cable will not lose your MTV, CBS, and Nickelodeon. Thank God I won't lose my Nickelodeon for the 4-year-old. That would have been hell to pay.
We are only 15 followers away now on Twitter there, sir, to 80,000.
Wow.
Wow, Nvidia now 141.93, or near the lows of the day.
Zora, Bitcoin getting close to where I'd be buying here.
Yeah, I think this selling is just nuts at this point. This is terrible selling today. This is just people scared, and I love scared money. By the way, if you don't know that by now, I love scared money.
It's right about at resistance between 97,250 and 97,900. So anywhere in that range, Zora would give you a good spot. And that would be a good pickup there, Zora. I know that you sold some at 101, so don't be afraid to pick it back up at that spot. Seeing Brad Glaringhouse came out, Ripple CEO, that the current market cap of Ripple of 11 billion is too small against the backdrop of the XRP token appreciation and the fast-growing demand for Ripple products. He believes the actual market cap should be 10 times larger now. Wow. You don't
Well, Brad
usually.
Garlinghouse he loves his Ripple, right? I mean, that's his thing.
Yeah, but he doesn't usually make those crazy kind of remarks. I'm a little surprised by that. I really am. He
Digging
usually
down
is
the low.
a pretty level-headed guy to that. Seeing that oil prices again, growing concern over supply disruption. Steve, we didn't talk about Michael Barr
Mm.
has, resigned or is going to resign as the vice chair of the FDIC. That was a little surprising, right? I mean, the whole reason I thought that they had set up the sort of the terms there was that you didn't change with the president.
Well, when you send a letter from the FDIC to the bank saying don't buy Bitcoin, and the new
And then
president
it
comes
finally
in and
comes
saying I
out.
love Bitcoin, you're pretty much out. Yeah. Remember, the FDIC is insurance on banks, so you no longer represent the banks, and the banks are now buying Bitcoin. So goodbye. Don't let the door hit your butt on the way out. This selling is a little too much for me. I don't, this selling is silly at this point. I mean, yeah, it's literally all of yesterday's gains in Bitcoin. It's literally, yeah.
Yeah.
And as we've said, right, it's going to be very volatile. That's what I've said this morning, right? You asked me about this year. It's going to be just that up and down, but big swings, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, for me, Bitcoin's going to trade somewhere between this 92 and 101 until something moves it one way or the other. But you would need to see him move above 105, 106 to think that you're done with the days of under 100.
mm, Nvidia still selling here.
Tencent getting hit pretty hard here after the U.S. government has labeled it a military company, so it would be directly in the crosshairs of the new administration. Again, that is Tencent. Oh, yeah, you can see that drop down.
We're still seeing more selling.
Bitcoin 97.5 right now, getting right towards the bottom of that
Yeah,
support
now
zone.
the Nasdaq down 1.5% on the day. That's a lot. It's just, I think it's too much. It's just too silly. People are scared, and I get it. They're gonna clean them out, but I'm not too worried about it.
Gold back below 2650 here also.
I think they cleared.
What's
I think they
going up?
cleared.
Rates is going up. Oil's going up. Copper keeps rising. Nvidia continuing to get hit here.
Yeah, 141.10 finally off that bottom down there, but I think we're about done here.
I have put in a little order at 140, so I will
Yeah,
try to lower my cost to 142.50 if I get a fill there.
Yeah, I think I just got a little too early on it, but I'm not too scared about it. They're not bothering me too much. I let some of that selling this morning pressure hit it, and we're good. Yeah, I really want to know what Trump's going to talk about.
So don't we all? Scalezi coming out now. House aims to pass budget reconciliation by Easter.
Oh dear God, why that late?
Well, aren't they talking about trying to do this one huge, massive bill to do everything?
Yeah, I mean you are in the lead now. You now have the House and the Senate, and you have the White House. So act like it. One forty, 145. Looks like we might have bought that bottom there. Finally.
Hmm. Seen a 40K buyer of Nvidia 140 calls. So we are seeing buyers already lined up at 140 here.
Yeah, I think it attacked that price, and I think that's where we went to, but I'm not too scared. It's Nvidia, man. I mean, what are they gonna? I mean,
Yeah.
oh, they're putting Lena Khan back on CNBC as a replay.
Oh, as a replay, I'm like, oh, please don't put it back on. Dell is rebranding its PC line, trying to make it look more like Apple's products. Be interesting to see what they're doing there.
I like Dell stuff.
I'm actually a fan of Dell. That's what I
They're
use for
also
my
hearing that.
desktops. I think
What's
that
that?
in the desktop business, I think that they do the best.
Yes, that's what I have desktop with them. Yeah, I don't like their laptops as much, but I do have a Dell laptop too as well. We're seeing a little bit of selling again, Nvidia. A little bit of selling in the markets again. Picked up again.
Yeah, haven't got my fill yet, but we'll see if we get it there. Bitcoin doesn't want to get all the way down there. It keeps trying, but keeps catching that 97 150 handle so far.
We got about 13 minutes till the 11th hour here. We'll see what President-elect Trump has to say this morning. Again, I'm really want to know what he has to say.
That's a good question. Where can I? Yeah, it looks like he's going to talk about his stuff because there's Trump to speak at Mar-a-Lago ahead of hush money thing. So it looks like it might be
Again, I
that.
reiterate what I said: become president. Stop being a little douchey.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Watch live so I can see it here. Those that want to watch it live and now, Fox.com has it live now.
And you can watch it right at the
Fox.com.
platform if you want to. We have all the different channels right on the business streaming. Click on the business streaming section and figure out which one you want to see. There'll be probably on 5 or 6 channels inside of it. 97.7 now on Bitcoin. So it looks like there is some buyers stepping in here a little bit.
Yep, they are. Tick negative 500 here. We are continuing to see the red across the board. QQQ down now 1.5 percentage points, 516.80 here. Right down now more than 1%. So just a lot of selling.
All right, we're seeing tick pushing a little bit here now. Kind of what I thought. I thought that was the end of it. 97.8 now. Come on, get above 98. And we'll yeah, 97.9 now on Bitcoin. Come on. I thought that pretty
I
well.
will say buyers are stepping into Carvana up another 5% here. We talked about it this morning. Um, Ally
140,
Financial has
142.
agreed to continue their buying of their loans, which was one of the major points that the Hindenburg short seller report had brought up, was that they rely a lot on Ally.
All right, about 10 minutes now until President-elect Trump will be speaking about his woes.
We'll say Micron pulling back a little bit here was up over 5% a little
Tick
bit
now
earlier here.
positive on the day. There it is. Tick now
Okay.
300. Okay. The shorts have given up. They're going to cut. Oh, tick now 400 now. They're giving up.
DXY did break back above 1085 here too, so
97.9 again. Now, come on, get above 98,000. We'll go back up there. Tick up 500.
advanced decline was at about 3,000 now, to 27.24 to the negative. So we are seeing, like you said, Steve, a little bit of some buying here. Not a ton though.
We're hearing reports now that Trump will be asked. There will be reporters at Mar-a-Lago. He will be asked about tariffs.
Ah, there you go.
Tick's now 600 now. There's 142 on Nvidia. Come on. Tick up 650 now. 98,000 back on Bitcoin. We'll get
Yeah.
back above 98.5. 98.5. I think we'll go on up.
Yeah, first level you got to look at is 98,700.
Okay.
You
There
get
you go.
above that, you're looking at some recovery. Tick staying positive, so like to see that. Like I said, advanced
142 on
decline now
Nvidia.
500. Ticker is moving to the positive here this in the last 10 minutes or so.
We are 8 followers away now for 80,000 followers on
Wow,
Quasar
that
Markets.
is amazing. Google still holding up here, still up about a half a percentage point this morning. The rest of the Mag 7 getting hit pretty hard here. Tesla down almost 4%. Meta down about 3%. Amazon down 2%. Nvidia, as we know, down about 5%. Struggling to get back above 142. So they're battling out those zero DTEs, as you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Followers. A little bit of a move up by Berkshire Hathaway today. Excuse me.
98.2 now on Bitcoin. All right, I think we did get that bottom there, Mr. Hondo.
Hopefully. Take a look at what we got on the pumpers here.
I think the real question is whether or not Elon Musk is in Mar-a-Lago.
He doesn't seem to leave his side, so he should be, right?
I think they're literally attached to the hip now. I think they're surgically attached now.
Bitcoin trying to move back up a little bit here.
Yeah, I think those dip buyers and zero DTEs was pretty big there.
Okay, so we do have the president coming up here at 11 o'clock. We will be signing off for that. Steve, any other predictions on where we finish up today?
Yep, I feel like the buyers should be stepping in now.
Does look that way. Tick up 690 now.
Yeah, 142.40 now on Nvidia. 98,000 here on Bitcoin. So yeah.
It's having trouble holding 98 though. Not gonna lie, it's having trouble holding above it. Gold struggling to get back across 2650 also. Okay, Steve, I know you have a meeting, and I also have Dr. Alan Ellman coming in here. I'm going to do our weekly meeting with him and get our interview, and that will be airing tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on Quasar Markets Live. So, Steve, thank you for sticking around extra today. Appreciate it.
I'll stick around for 2 seconds. Go see my friend Alan. Why not?
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll put us all up on a screen.
And I got to run off to my meeting here, but I'm excited about 143 now on Nvidia. There it is, 98.1 now, 98.2 now, and tick now up 800. So we got it. I was a little, I'm not gonna lie, I did get nervous, but I wasn't scared. So I think it's got 142.30 now. Very good. So we're gonna continue to push up.
I think I should have. Okay, we're going to use our normal spot
right
that we use. Dr. Ellman, how are you doing today?
Good morning. What am I getting double?
Alan, how are you, my friend?
Good to see
I
you.
am. I'm super excited. Every time I see you, though, the only thing that bothers me about you is that those baseball things you have behind you. It's got the big old Yankees. I tell you, every time I'm in New York, I definitely go see a Yankee game in the summertime. I have a good time up there. But I'm super excited about you being an educator here at Quasar Markets.
Me too, Steve. And Howard's an amazing person to speak with and be interviewed by. He does a great job. And I just enjoy all of our discussions. And hopefully, your members will get some good information from it. And we got so
Yeah,
much more
no,
to give.
I think one of the things that I've always said at Quasar and over my 34 years now, I guess, as of a few weeks ago of trading is that quality, right? And I always want quality people around me. And Alan, you are definitely in that band. So I appreciate you being a part of Quasar. And I gotta run to my meeting, but again, I want to say thank you so much for being part of us and look forward to the education coming.
Thanks for hanging out and saying hello.